Welcome back, guys. Dom here, day number 27. Again, we're just going to continue this with a few more days, and then that's the month done. And then you're going to find that all these little steps all form part of the bigger picture that I would have in the program. So today we're talking about firing up your metabolism. Now, I'm not going to delve in and say backed by science or any of this sort of stuff. I'm going to simply share with you what I know that works for me and for the people that I am working with, particularly when it comes to the nutrition side. See, firing up your metabolism is probably born of one thing. A lot of us have tried to, let's call it, lose weight, diet down, do whatever, get to a certain shape, and one of the first things that we do is we stop eating the, I suppose, the appropriate amount of food that we need to get ourselves into that position. Now, what typically does happen when we start to drop down that amount of energy that we're coming in, our body's a smart little bugger and it says, righto, you're not eating enough, Dom. I'm therefore not going to work as hard metabolism wise, and I'm going to start to lower that threshold. And again, rocket science we don't need, we just simply need simple basic understanding. When you're not eating enough, your body will not perform enough to that level. So if you've gone from being, say for example, an absolute athlete, and then for whatever reason something's happened and 6 months later you're a couch potato, your body is not going to be operating at that same level. If you have suddenly stopped eating or dieted down or put your body through all sorts of unnecessary stress, it will adjust accordingly. Now, if there was one piece of advice I'd maybe want to give today, and it's not look at the foods that cause your metabolism to fire up, because pretty much any good source of food, if you're eating the right amount and your body's got to work to get rid of it, it's going to do that anyway. If there's one thing I'd say to you is it's your protein. Vegan, pescatarian, meat eater, paleo, Julio, whatever it's not going to make a difference. Except I'm going to say to you this: whatever your sources of protein are, you need to put that number one, because protein is that building block that's going to help our body build itself up once it's been broken down. Protein also, when we consume it, it has what's called a relatively higher thermic effect of food, meaning that your body requires more energy of itself to not only break down that protein, but also to absorb it. So case in point, if I take real good sources of fat don't really have to be broken down that much. They're pretty much, let's say a calorie of fat, when it gets used, a calorie gets used. If I am taking, say, 10 grams of protein or 10 calories of protein, then I'm going to need roughly a third of that energy just to be able to break that sucker down, and therefore my body's not going to absorb the full 10 calories worth. It's going to absorb, say 60 to 70% of that. So focus on your protein. When we do that, you will start to find that if that's the priority, and I'm not saying go do a meat eater, but if you start to prioritize that and get that in, not only are you going to feel fuller and you're not going to have the hunger pains, in other words, it's going to satiate your appetite, but your body's going to have to work to process that. Therefore, that's almost like turning on the switch, somewhat firing up your metabolism when it comes to that. Outside of that, the obvious things: go out and get some walk, drink plenty of water, get lots of rest, get lots of sunlight, all the other things that everyone else is going to tell you that you need to do, you should still do. But if I'm going to give you one thing, it is that. It is focus on your metabolism being kickstarted by getting in your protein sources, wherever it comes from, and prioritizing that. Because you see, once we do that, and you start to understand that 1,000 calories a day is not even as enough for a 15-year-old, 4 foot nothing female who's very inactive. She needs more than that as far as her basal metabolic rate. So why are you, as a grown-ass adult, if you're seeing this, or even an active teenager, why are you consuming not even that amount? This fast 800, these 5-2, these diets, all they do is they put you in a position where you're literally starving yourself in order for your body to react. If you keep doing that, and that's the only reaction you're going to get to, at some point in time, your body is going to simply say to you, F you, sunshine, I'm out of here. Fire up your metabolism. Be smart about it. Want to know a bit more? I can give you plenty of resources. You can even Google it. It ain't that hard to find nowadays. So ditch the skinny teas, the fad diets, the Fast 800, the apps, the Weight Watchers, the intermittent eating instead of intermittent fasting, and just focus on eating good sources of food. Start with your protein, and let's see if that could be maybe just the first start for you moving away from that shitty ass relationships that you've got with food. See you tomorrow.